Welcome to EJH British Cars. So the day has come. We're going to put some paint on the front of the body tub. We already got it pushed up into the tent inflated, of course. So I'm going to set the camera up next to one of the windows as I want to get paint all over the camera, but we'll give it a go. So let's get started. I'm not sure how well it shows in the video, but that bump right there is the back of the car. I pushed it into the tent and got an extra, I don't know, 6 or 9 inches of space to the front, which is good. And you can hear the 2 blowers going, I'm sure. Here's the car inside the tent. You can see there's quite a bit of room here to walk. I'm not saying it's not a little tight, but you know, work with what we got. And I got a good 6 inches anyway. And there's enough room to walk around the front. And a little bit tighter on this side, but not bad. I gave a bit more space on that side because I'm going to need to lean in, and I scraped some of the paint off to put a wire holder up on those little T-metal pieces. So I wanted a bit more room to reach in. And I just noticed it too, that when you zip this up, how much more rigidity that gives this building on both sides. So it's going to be warm in here, that's for sure. Anyway, I'll set this up on a tripod, and I need to mix up some paint, and then we'll get started. You'll have to excuse the audio quality because I do have my mask on. Well, first thing I'm going to do is shoot this little bit of the firewall. That'll also give me a test spray. See how I'm doing. I rotate this whether I want, when the nozzle's this way, the fan is that way, and vice versa. So you can twist that around as you do different areas of the car depending on what you need for coverage. You just want to do your edges first. I'm sure there's plenty of guys on the internet who do this better than I do, that's for sure. When you can, I like to shoot in the long direction. But it's also nice to shoot in more than one direction so you don't wind up with zebra stripes. It's really particular if you're doing metallic paint. You're really going to need to do that. And the instructions on this say to do a 50 to 75% over coverage. So it means that when you put your first line down, overlap at 50% so you're getting plenty of paint on. So be careful too, particularly wearing rubber gloves. You could get big goobers of sweat on this stuff really easy. I like to shoot from one end of the panel to the other. You're not going to wind up with a seam. The real trick here will be to knot the back end of the other fender. Oh, it's all pretty and red. So that paint laid down fairly well. These bigger marks are, you know, holes in the metal from the rust. You see, that's pretty flat. That'll color sand well. I'm thinking I might put another coat on the top surfaces here. Not really worried so much about these bottom fender pieces. Wow, this paint's almost dry to the touch now. But it'd be good to have plenty of paint up on the cowl and stuff to be able to sand it later. Funny, I hear that sound, it's me sticking to the floor. Overall pretty good. And no dust. I like that. Well, I just finished putting a second coat on the top of the cowl, the top of the fenders, firewall. Wasn't worried very much about, you know, down under in the frame areas and stuff where you're never going to see it. I'm never going to color sand down there. But anywhere where I might color sand, like the top of the cowl, I always like to have a little extra paint so you don't worry about falling through. So the booth seemed to work pretty well. I put the big blower on the fresh air, and it still gets pretty warm in there. Of course, it's probably about 90 out today, but it definitely feels like right here in the shade, it definitely feels a lot nicer with a breeze. But it has to be expected. I mean, it's got clear panels from the top and the sun shining in, and it's baking the paint really nice. So I mean, there's a benefit for that. And to be honest, it doesn't take more than about 20 minutes to lay paint on there, so it's not like it's a sauna, but I sure wouldn't want to spend the day in there. So it seems to have worked pretty well. You can still hear they're running. I'm letting that paint set up. I don't want to try to move the car until, you know, the paint's pretty hard, so I'll probably let them run for a few hours before I try to, because I have to pull the carb out of there to deflate the tent. But I think that'll be okay, particularly seeing as, you know, I painted the front, and when I push it out, I'll be pushing it from the back, so I won't be touching the paint actually. I just have to be careful not to run into anything. I kind of come out and make a corner and get around my wife's tomato plants. But I think it'll be all right. This paint, I tell you, the primer dries 10 minutes, 15 minutes to, you know, really not just, you know, sometimes you touch paint and you don't leave a mark, but you can still tell it's sticky. I mean, 15 minutes and you can sand this primer, so it's pretty nice. I think probably this red paint after an hour, I'd be surprised if I couldn't touch it and not leave a mark. So anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, anything else, and we will see you next time.